All right, today, cool. So lately, in my area, they've been having like events, like I guess just to ramp up for like when people about to go out and start doing live shows all out in the world. So these last couple of weeks been a ramp up. So we've been having a lot of events and all of that. So Allen and Heath came around. They brought the DLive school or whatever. Even though I've used the DLive pretty extensively to this point, there is a few things I'm always gray on because I never built one 100% from the ground up. Like, it's a different thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand what that means. Like, if you work for a venue or you work at a venue, you didn't build that rig 100% from the ground up. You didn't 100% build that mix up. You might have made it sound better. You might have put your own flavor on it, but you didn't 100% build it. So I've never 100% built a DLive up from scratch. So I always try to catch the little Allen and Heath University because every time I go, I catch a little bit something different. I can go online and listen to videos, but it's this dude, Mike Spraggs, man. He like one of the best like monitor engineers in the world, basically. And he's teaching. A couple years ago, he had just came off tour and all that. Now he teaching this. I guess he tired of touring and all that. So like a who's who in the industry, he done ran monitors for him. So, and that's another thing too, just coming from the perspective of like, he always dropped jewels about like running monitors. I'm not the most experienced person when it comes to monitors. Like, I'm always front of house or I'm like backline or something like that. I'm never monitored. So it's dope to be able to get insights from him and just learn a little bit more about the higher end Allen and Heath platform, because they got the boards, man, with the capabilities and the DSP on them is crazy, man. Like, so I learned a lot about the DLive, man. This week and last week and the week before when I was in Vegas at NAB, Allen and Heath had a little thing there. So I try to, whenever like I'm Allen and Heath, I'm a spirit animal with them, man. As soon as I can afford myself an Avantis or DLive, I'm definitely grabbing one, man. But they made it closer because they got that little small CGI, so I'm getting closer. Even though that thing is like 14 grand by itself, and you still got about a mixer for another 11 to 14 grand. So I need 30 G's, man, and I can get a DLive, basically. Then that's the smallest one, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, the DLive is nice, man, because you can patch anything to anything. The latency is lower than everybody else's. Their plugins are as good as Waves, in my opinion. Like, like not some of the super crazy like stuff that Waves does, like some of the feedback hunter and all of that stuff. Yeah, I don't think they can compare with that stuff yet. But like just straight EQs and compressors and stuff, yeah, they can compare. So basically why that's important, because if you using the standard onboard stuff, you don't gotta use like Waves card and stuff like that, so you keep that latency low. So yeah, they got crazy latency, like it's like 0.7 milliseconds or something. So that's nuts, over a 300 foot like cable run, front of house to like the speakers, 0.7 milliseconds. That's crazy. So yeah, that's a crazy system. So just learning a little bit more about the DLive, man, because I'm gonna really like invest in one of those one day, to be honest, man, because it's like anything else, man. Like, I'm one of those people that like, I get something like a brand or a style of doing something and I rock with it. And I really like the style of their mixers, the big one, the big boy, the DLive. Like I said, I was blessed that I skipped past. I hadn't really used the QU that much, had never used the SQ. Avantis wasn't even out yet, I don't think. I went straight from like not using Allen and Heath stuff, like just to the old school Z analog stuff, to all the way up to the DLive, and that tells you all you need to know about it. If somebody who had never used a board, I had used Digicodes and Yamahas and Rivage, like big boy boards on that level, but I had never used their big boy board on the level. Soundcraft got a dope one too. So yeah, it was nice to be able to just learn a little bit more, man, sit in the class. It was a lot of stuff that I already knew, but just like anything else, you be quiet, like you got one mouth, two ears. Just, okay, cool, if you know it. That's my problem with a lot of people too. I'm gonna get on my rant, my little soapbox. Just be quiet, dog. Like, you know how many people tell me stuff I already know? Like just be quiet. Like, damn, like I remember I really live like this, man. I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger said this. I ain't saying like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger or nothing. He was like, when a little kid walk up to him and be like, I'll be back. He's like, he responds to it exactly the same way. Why? Because you never know. Like, he was like, okay, cool. That person probably never see me again. So why should I respond and be like, oh, okay, another person. That's how I view knowledge, honestly. Like, you know how many people have told me something that I already knew. It's not a big thing to me for me to be, yeah, I already know that. Nah, just shut your ass up, okay? Because he might have 3 more things, he or she might have 3 more things they may say behind that, and I might catch thing number 4, but I already shut them down on thing number 1. Yeah, you can agree, and later, I told people later, like, yeah, you know that, I had seen that before. But like in the moment of me telling them, I don't gotta shut them off, like, yeah, I know it. Nah, that ain't. Like, for what? That bothers me. That's the only reason I'm talking about it. That really fucking bothers me. Like, shut the fuck up. Just let that person talk for a second, then you talk. And that's what the whole fucking internet is. That's what's so crazy. Like it's nuts. But let me get back to what I was talking about. That bothers me. So let's get back to what I was talking about. Yeah, learned a little bit about the DLive this week, a little bit about the Avantis, because they got the same sound engine, but it's not the same board. You can patch things and do things with it the same, but it's not the same board. He also had me looking at ways, problems that we can solve, just like as an engineer. It ain't had nothing to do with Alan and Heath. So big shots to Mike Spraggs, man. He's a beast, man. He's a monster. So yeah, Allen and Heath University. They actually got another event coming next week, and I'm pretty sure Allen and Heath gonna be there again. And I'm gonna be there. Eventually, I'm gonna buy myself a DLive. Until then, I'm getting my hands on them as much as I possibly can. So yeah, that's the first thing this week. Allen and Heath DLive. If you've never used one, don't be quick to just say the Yamaha or the Digico better. Nah, I guarantee if you get on that joint, I've been on them. I've been on them boards that y'all talking about better. Get on one. You'll see, man, even the big boy Midases. Like, yeah, the DLive can compete with those, man, with some of the things it does. Now, I don't know about like far as like when you start adding plugins and the latency and all that, then it might change, man. It's kind of like Reason, like how Reason is just super dope because when it was just his own platform, when it was no plugins added, no nothing, Reason was super crazy when it came to like you could just record and do stuff, open all type of tracks and all that because they already understood how much latency each plugin or each instrument took, so you can add so many. So that's kind of how I look at the DLive. Like, okay, if you can get used to just using their stuff in the box, you basically unlimited, man. Like when you start adding plugins and adding different stuff from other manufacturers, waves, cards and all that, then you're gonna run into like, okay, cool. You might not get the DSP you want. Me and a guy was talking about that at the Digico. He was like, Digico, when you start adding stuff, they don't flinch. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check out. He was talking about the Big Boy Quantum. I never been on the Big Boy Quantum, so yeah, the Digico is nice too. But yeah, Allen and Heath really caught my attention this week because I'm trying to figure out how to get an SQ right now. I'm gonna get a DLive later, but I'm gonna get an SQ right now. I got some stuff coming up in the summer. I'm trying to figure out, can I make this move before? Because any type of festival, any type of gig stuff you got coming up, big boy gigs, you gotta know that board. So I'm trying to figure out, I got some stuff later on in the summer, trying to figure out if I could get this SQ now so I can master it before all that big boy stuff come. If not, I'm gonna stay with the boards and the stuff I'm used to or just rent a DLive, you know what I'm saying? But because the SQ is the one, it's crazy because the SQ is the newest one. So it's got some features on it that the DLive don't have and the Avantis. So, but I know it the least because it's like, I've never used it. So yeah, I might have to rent a DLive, but I'd rather get an SQ in my hand and use it for the next 2 months before that gig. So yeah, man, Allen and Heath boards is one of the boards that slept on. They not really slept on when it come to just like straight little small analog gig stuff because I bought one just cause, like just to have it. I have it just cause out with me a lot of times. I've always seen them I seen one in a jazz club, man. I forgot the name of the club. It's like on the South Loop here in Chicago. It's one of the best sounding venues I've ever heard. When I went, I ended up working, doing a gig there, and I saw that it was just like an analog Allen and Heath. I was amazed. They got a real grand piano in there though. It's nice, and they got it all. It's nice in there, but it's a jazz club. What you expect? But yeah, Allen and Heath make dope boards, and I'm glad that I'm really getting into like they higher end boards, because yeah, they punch way above their belt. I'm crying about them costing 30, 40,000, but they punching up there with those boards that cost way more if you want to be technical. So yeah, the DLive on my list, definitely. All right, next on my list, man. I said this a while ago that I was done buying vintage gear, and I did it again. I'm disappointed in myself, but I had to do it, man. I bought myself another Korg Poly 6. And you heard me say another because I had one briefly. I bought it, I got it, and like half the functions didn't work. So I ended up sending it back to dude. But man, when I was programming that thing, the texture, like it was so crazy. So I got one this time, and it did not disappoint, man. It was just as good, man. It's some little quirky stuff that was going on, but this time I was smart enough. Back then I didn't have someone I would call my tech. Now I got a guy that I can send stuff to that I trust. Like he fixed one of my boards. I was complaining about that too, talking about how much it was gonna cost me. From what all he did, he charged me peanuts. So I got a guy now. I feel like I got a guy. So this is like my second or not third thing I sent to him. So right now it's in the shop. But like, honestly, man, as soon as I got it home, I started making beats on it. Like, that's one of the dope things about it too. It had a MIDI mod on it already, so I ain't gotta worry about putting no MIDI mod on it. All the buttons, everything worked perfectly. The only problem I had with it was the person that did the mod, they did it. It was done like 20 years ago before these new mods. These new mods that they got now that have been made in the last 10 years, they don't take any functionality away. The old ones did. And I understand why it took this functionality away. You can't go up and down on the octaves, on the oscillator, which if you just triggering MIDI, it doesn't matter. But if you want an actual board and you want to go up and down, you can't do it. It was like locked in. That was the only issue with it. And I'm like, for one, this is one of the last affordable VCO-based polysynth. Like, it's literally the last one. Any other VCO-based polysynth is 2-3 times the amount, except for like the what do you call it? The sequential, probably the Prophet 600. Other than that, any other VCO-based polysynth is not like, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, VCO, DCO, but I got a Poly 6 and I got a Poly 61. I can hear the difference. Literally made 2 years apart. One with VCOs, one with DCO. One got 2 oscillators, the Poly 61 got 2 oscillators that can't be moved around, so they like locked. And the Poly 6 got 1 oscillator and a sub oscillator, so you can use the second oscillator like a sub oscillator and kind of get the similar sound. But when you start going through that and you start hearing the texture of the VCOs and the top end and all that, and then start playing around with the chorus and the flanger effects that's on the Poly 6, the Poly 61 can't compete with it, man. The only good thing I will say about the Poly 61 is for it to be a 40-year-old synth, I really never have to worry about any tuning issues because it's a DCO-based synth. So in that case, I don't really ever have to deal with any tuning issues, ever. Obviously, with a VCO-based one, you're gonna deal with tuning issues every time you turn it on. So I'm 40, 50 years old. So, but that's the plight. That's what we chose, right? So when you went to these old synths, that's what you chose. So you gotta keep that tuner handy. I'm gonna get myself a rack tuner, man. I should have one by now, I guess, cause like all my synths were DCO based. So I never really like felt I needed a tuner. I just did it by ear. But now I got my, well, not just all DCO based, because I got a Voyager, but that's analog, that's controlled by digital. It don't really go out of tune. And it's only like 20 years old. Obviously it's 20 years old, but in the synth world, that's like still new. But the Poly, I got a brand new Prophet That one shockingly goes out of tune a lot though. I don't know what's going on. It's only a 4-year-old synth, and I gotta tune it like every time I turn it on. It just sits in my basement, temperature control room that never moves. So I don't understand why I gotta tune this thing every time it turns on. But I gotta tune that joint every time. But it's just a one button. I don't gotta actually tune it because the Prophet got that sucky tune by note thing that I hate. Like, no, I just want to sweep between and get it myself. I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. That was weird, man. Like, they need to take that off of the synth, bro. It's on the Prophet V2. I hate that. The Rev 2, I hate that. That's why I sold the Rev 2. I hate that, bro. Just let us tune it, man. Just let us turn the knob and tune it. I don't want to hear trying to figure out where the right tune is at based on semitone. Like, nah, just let me do it manually. So that's why I don't like but I got a Model D now. I got my Prodigy, and now I got the Poly 6. So I actually need to like have me a rack tuner now to just run stuff in. Cause at first, like I said, I had a lot of analog synths, but I mean vintage synths, but I never needed to like have a rack tuner or nothing like that. Or I never had too many synths that I had to tune every time I turned on. The Poly 6 never goes out of tune, so I never had synths that I got to tune. The DW 8000 never goes out of tune. So now I got the Poly 6, the Prophet, the Prodigy, and the Model D. I got a tune. So I'm looking for like, I don't even want a new one because the new ones are kind of big. I got like one rack space and it's only like that deep. So I got to use one of the old korg tuners. I got to buy one used. So I'm looking for one. I'm going to cop one. But yeah, the Poly 6, man, it's definitely worth it. If you could catch one for less than $2,000, buy it. I bought mine for half of that. Like it's a crackhead price, dog, with a MIDI mod on it for like a little over stack. So I couldn't pass that up. Like I got like 4 or 5 cents I'll sell right now if I was in need of cash. It was like, fuck it, like I'd rather have this one for this one. Like I'll get rid of a few cents right now to keep that joint. So yeah, the Poly 6, it's got magic. I can't even explain it. It's weird, man. Like I thought it was like just like, you know, when you get something, you just got that feeling. So I only had the old one for like 2 weeks. A week. I was trying to figure out how much it was gonna cost to get fixed. I took it to the shop and that one had the battery damage and all that one. This one don't. So it was gonna cost me more to get the board fixed than the board was worth and all that. So I just sent it back because he didn't tell me it was nothing wrong with it. So I sent it back. But this one, man, cosmetically it's fine. All the buttons, all the presets work, everything work. I saved patches on it, everything works. The only problem was they hardwired and took that functionality away from the oscillator. So my tech fixing that, I should have had that joint back in about a week. But honestly, man, I made a little video when I was making beats on it. Here it go right here, look at that. Listen to the magic of this synth.
The lab, man. Got the latest piece, man. This thing sounds so beautiful, man. She might be gone. I'm sorry, probably 61. Probably 6 in the building now, fam. Got that mold going on top of that. That's how it sounds together though, man. That's what it sounds like when you put a Poly 6 and a mold together. What about that mode? That's a mode too now. Making modern heat on like vintage synths, my nigga. Getting it in. We working tonight, man. Always do the right thing.
See what I'm saying? That texture, man. It's like a high end texture that you can't explain. It's like almost like how the Prophet is too. But the Prophet has got just more of the mojo. The Poly 6 got the same type of, so the Poly 6 is like, in my opinion, it's like if the Prophet and the Juno 106 had a baby. That's what the Poly 6 is like. It's not as big as a Prophet, but it's got some of that higher end texture. And the Juno 106 got like lower mid sound better than the Poly 6. So the higher end on the Poly 6 is better than the Juno 106 in my opinion. That's probably because of the effects, because the Juno 106 you get the 2 choruses, but on here you get the chorus and you get to dial it in. You get the chorus, the flanger, and the ensemble, you get to dial it in. That's why it's a little bit better. So not flanger, phaser. You get to dial it in and out a little bit. So you're not stuck with it just being on and off like a 106. So yeah, man, if you ever could get one, but that's the problem. I remember talking to my man Lance at the Synth Museum out in LA. He didn't have any of that korg generation. He was like, nah, man, because the batteries, they explode and kill a motherboard. So I'm like, damn, this dude got every synth except for a Poly 6. Like, in my opinion, his collection ain't complete because the Poly 6 is a monster. But yeah, I feel him though. Like, that's like a time bomb. Like, I don't want to have to deal with that. Like, I got the battery changed inside my Poly 61 because the battery is just a battery thing that korg did at the time. He did have a mono poly though. The mono poly sounds good too. But yeah, the Poly 6 is chef kiss, dog. If you could get one because like I say, soon they're gonna be like 4,000, just like the Prophets and everything else from the era. I guarantee it, because the more time go on, there's gonna be less and less of them. Then people gonna be like, wait, this is just like the 106, but the texture is a little bit more like textury. That's what it is. It's like a 106 and the texture is a little bit more textury. So that's why I like that joint. So yeah, the Poly 6, it didn't fill a hole because I got everything, but it filled a void that the 106 left when I sold it. That's still one of the stupidest things I ever done. I sold a JX3P and a Juno 106, the HS60, but a Juno 106, and I bought a System 8. Man, I still can't believe I did that, man. I had, and my 106, the voice chips was changed. It was fine. And JX3P was good. I ain't had no issues. One key was acting weird. That's it. I traded both of those. It wasn't like apples to apples, same amount of money. I obviously got more money for those than I did for the than the System 8 cost. But yeah, I sold those, bought a System 8, and was like, man, this shit feel like you in an airplane or something. Like, I'm used to driving a car and getting in the airplane. Meaning, like, it was just too much shit going on the, you go from two of the simplest, especially one of the most simple designs ever, because the JX3P do got some like matrix shit that you gotta learn how to figure out and use and get fast with. But the 106 is just boo, 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 you got a sound. So I went from that to the System 8 with all these damn knobs and all these damn options. I didn't want that. Like, I just buy Prophets if I wanted all those options. Nah, I just wanted something simple. That's why I love the 106, and that's why I'm liking the Poly 6, because it's only a couple things you could, the Poly 6 do got a couple more options though. It is a couple more options with the MG section gives you a little bit more. Obviously the effects give you a little bit more, and that's about it. Other than that, it's the same. So yeah, that's why I was missing a void of that vintage simple synth, because my Poly 6 ain't simple. Having to hit all them damn membrane buttons and to do everything is not simple. So the 106 and the Poly 6 share that same type of lineage, where it's a dope simple synth that it takes just a couple minutes to get a good dope sound off, and it's not gonna give you a big gamut of sounds. It's only gonna give you like, if this a wide range of sounds, it's only gonna give you like that range, but it's gonna give you the best that you possibly can get in that range. So that's why I like it. But yeah, the Poly 6, man, if you can get your hands on one, get it, especially for cheap. You're probably not gonna find one that don't have an issue with it. So don't even like feel like, man, like this. Nah, as long as that damn battery didn't bust on the motherboard, just get whatever little issue fixed. I wish I would have understood that. I would have kept the other one. But yeah, I'm happy I got this one. Should be getting it back from the shop in the next couple days, and you're gonna be hearing more from it. I'm probably make some videos, like, cause like I said, I was kind of geeked about this one. It took me 2 years again to muster up the courage to like try to go through that process again, cause technically I bought one that had that issue, and it was one locally at a guitar center that I was hearing it, playing around with it, and I'm hearing the same, it was like the same issue. So it's like that keyboard has an issue if it don't have it. You know what I'm saying? It either has that issue or it don't have it. So I was lucky I got one that didn't have it. I took it through its paces, left it on for 3 days. It was fine, fam, it was good. So yeah, I can't wait to get it back. But yeah, man, appreciate you stopping by, man. I'm about to get up out of here, get to work. Well, I'm not about to get up out of here. I'm about to turn this camera off and turn around and get to work. But appreciate you stopping by, listening to me rant and talk crap about just things going on these last couple weeks, man. I've been blessed to be. I went to Vegas to NAB. I had a couple events here, and in the meantime, getting gear and like testing out, doing things, man. So I've been appreciative. Like, man, it's funny. These are the times that you be like, man, I can't believe I do this for a living, man. I used to work in like a warehouse and a chemical plant, and I do this for a living now. It's crazy. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate everything happening around on this audio world. We in a crazy time right now where we still got access to the old and we getting the brand new. So, you know, I'm loving it. I'm hybrid till it's over. So, like I say, do me a favor. I'm gonna keep telling you. I need to get my weight up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Peace.